Hi, it's Lyle from Made by Marley, and my good friend Julie from Purple Monkey Manor sent me this. Aha, it's the Pretty in Plaid stamp, and today I'm going to do a vintage inspired modern take on a set of drawers using autumn colours. So it's always good to get new goodies, and this was sent to me by my lovely friend Julie in Texas, and if you're looking for any IOD products, then you can get them from her. So I've opened up the Pretty in Plaid stamp. Remember, when you buy any of the new stamps, that you have to season them first with a little bit of sandpaper. I'm so sorry for that noise. Basically, you just rub it over with sandpaper just to give it more teeth when it sticks. Now, how are we going to do this? We're going to start with our big check first, and I'm going to use these colours, which I've mixed up a raspberry. I'm going to be using this sort of greeny blue and this sort of turquoisey lighty blue colour. I'm not sure if that's the technical term. And possibly some lighter pink later on down the road. So how are we going to do it? We're doing sort of a modern take on vintage inspired. I'm thinking what my sort of references were years ago when I was young. We used to get like boxes of shortbread. They're really vintage when you find them now, and they're lovely, sort of tartan coloured with the roses on them. So I'm thinking a more modern take on that, using some autumnal colours. So we need to get this one off, because this is the one we're going to start with. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to set up ready to stamp the front. I forgot to tell you what we're actually doing. I've got a beautiful little set of vintage drawers, nice sort of detail around the bottom. Most of our design work's going to be in the front, on the sides. So to make this probably just the easiest way that I think that I want to kind of deal with this is I am going to be quite cheeky and just cut. Now I've got my mini rollers here, which are probably going to be the best thing for the job, and I've got a plastic sheet on the floor, and I'm just going to put a little bit of my paint onto this, get my stamp ready. Make sure I've got plenty of paint on my mini roller, but I'm not going too crazy. Can you fast forward this? Okay, so how I'm going to do it, I'm going to start up in this corner because I'm going to go right across my drawers, and that should hopefully keep us quite straight. Now I've got kind of in and outy bits where the drawers go, so I'm just kind of trying to get this part. Now I'm going for a vintage look, so I'm not too worried if it's not all perfect. I think the overall finish should be fine. So there we go. Just gonna have a little peek. That's our first lot of checks. Now I'm gonna go. I'll do maybe 3, and then we'll. I'm just gonna do the whole front. I mean, it just saves you having to watch it over and over and over and over again. So I'm just loading up my stamp again with my mini roller, which the mini rollers are just perfect for this as well. They're just the right size. Grabbing my stamp, taking it to where I was before, and now, as I said, it's not printing out, you know, these parts here where my drawers are, but as I said, it's a vintage look I'm going for. I'm not, oh, I did a little bit of shifting there. Too busy talking, not enough concentration. Make sure you touch all your parts of your stamp. Try and hold it straight with the other hand. And you've seen me do stamping so many times, you're probably bored already. Now, that's that one on. And one more, and then we'll call it quits. And I'll just do the whole of the front. When you're stamping, take your time, make sure you get paint on all your areas. That's what's going to give you the best stamp. Up to this one again. And like that. I think I've just touched the top with pink fingers, so I'm going to have to fix that at some point in time. Martin is laughing already. Yep. I think we're good for there. Oh, I did a bit of shifting again. So there we go. So I'm going to do the whole of the front of this. So when you get to this end, you're just like basically lining this up again. Then you've got your blank, your negative spaces. So you're just lining it up and lining it up. And you just, that's all you're doing until you've done the whole section. I like this part here where it's a little bit darker. But I'm liking all these, see these pieces where it hasn't stamped, because this is going to add to that sort of vintage look that I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so we've got our base, the raspberry on top of the mustard, and now we're going to do the teal green on top of this. Now, my positioning, I think you just have to play around with this, but I'm going to start with this part off the edge so that my stripes go through my negative, back to my mustard. Because if I move it this way, it's going to be a little bit off kilter, and you could probably, or maybe I want it in the center. Really, I think it's actually up to you. It's your own personal choice. I've actually just changed my mind on camera. I'm going to have these little squares in the centers of my negative spaces, and I'll work what I'm going to do out with that in a minute. So I'll just load it up and I'll show you, like I did the last time, a couple of times of me just doing it. I quite like the way this is working because it does, I was kind of worried about how to get it kind of looking sort of vintage, but I think the stamp's pretty much done it itself, where it's printed and where it hasn't printed. Now, so I decided that I want these. How did I just have it a minute ago? I want this to be in my, that's not the way I had it though, hang on. Bear with me. It's just going to take a little bit of time so that you know exactly what you're doing. I think this was how I had it before. So I'm just going to commit to this. I'm going to try my best to let this one move or slip. I could have laid it down flat, but the only problem with that for me is I like to be able to see it in context, and I sometimes think you can't actually do that when a piece is lying flat. So I like it to be that it's in front of me so I can look back and take a wee step back from it. So that's why it's not down on the bottom of the ground. Sometimes I do it, but all right, let's have a look and see how this has worked out for us. So I'm going to go along doing exactly the same thing again, lining up my stripes. I'm actually really pleased with this colour combo, because what we're going to do at the end with the last one is make sure that these stripes go through this space here. I'm going to be doing the same pattern on the sides, but a top tip of what I do if I've got paint, in particular self-leveling paint, I squish it with water like this and then sit it to the side, so that the paint doesn't dry up and it's not going to stick and ruin your stamps. So I'm just going to set this to the side. Now the next one we're going to do is going to be this one, and I'm just going to set up for it because I've got a bit of a paint dribblage thing going on here. So I'm going to set up and we'll work out where this one's going to go in this pattern. I think it's probably, I want the check to go. I'll work it out off camera. So this is me just loading up my very last. Now you can use this stamp and you can just use one on a piece of furniture. One of the stamps, depending on how thick you want your checks. I wanted all of mine because obviously I know it's plaid, but I was wanting mine to look like a sort of Harris tweed tartan, so that's why I've used all of them. Now I worked this out a minute ago. I want to have this square in the center of my pink. So I'm going to have to start here this time with my light green or sort of turquoisey colour. And this is going to be quite interesting because I've started in a place where the drawers go up and down, but the trick is not to shift. And I've just shifted like a million times there. So I'm going to move on to my next square. I'll just show you this one. I'm conscious that I want you to see it, but I don't want you to be too bored seeing the same thing repeated over and over again. So I'm kind of conscious of both. And I'm wanting it in the center of my pink. So I'm going to do the same thing again. You get some beautiful tartans that are made from tweed from Harris, and they do like a very, very expensive range of like scarves and coats and jackets that all look very similar to this. They do some mossy green ones with an ochre. You could Google some of those, the Harris tweeds. They really are, they're beautiful. So this was what I'd kind of thought of. I'm going to take a center of this out in the middle and put flowers in it, but this is our base. So I'm going to go on and do this one now. So I've used the plaid stamp on the sides and the front. Now, so this is a sort of modern take on the sort of kind of vintagey checked boxes. The colours would have been completely different, but we've got this far. Now what I've done is I've just got a piece of cardboard. It's just off the back of a transfer, and I've made an oval because I wanted to see what sort of size. So I made a little boo-boo here, but I was laughing to myself because I thought, well, this is going on here anyway, so this is where this is going to go. Now, but I want to make it more like a stencil, so I've got my oval and I'm putting it on the other part actually of this. So the colour I'm going to be using is the dusty sort of pinky colour, and I'm probably going to just use what I was using for doing some of the stenciling to get, and I've got a nice big offload it because you don't want it too heavy around the edges. You're probably going to have to give it a couple of coats. I've got my furniture on wheels, which are of absolutely no use to me because the stable floor is so uneven, they just keep falling off them. And every so often I have to go and just do the sides without the wheels anyway. I think it might be different for me with, I've been envious of them. Other furniture artists have them and I've wanted them. So I've got them, but now they're not good in the stable, not at the moment anyway. So I'm thinking we're just kind of, in the middle, obviously, I'm going to be doing one solid coat. Now, you know to do inlays, you need one coat and then you come back and you put another coat on top. So that's what we'll be doing here. Just kind of feather that out. Just don't want it too heavy around the edges. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to let this dry until we can put the next part on. I think I'm going to leave because I think they'll just fade away with the second coat, but if they don't, I quite like them. Maybe I could go over the top of the inlays. Oh, there's an idea. Right, we'll see we'll get to that when we get to that. Right, there we go. I'm going to let that dry. Okay, I decided not to do 2 coats on this. I decided to apply my inlays with lacquer, just so that I could still have this sort of kind of almost distressed sort of plaid underneath. So now what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to put these on in a sort of circular. Now, who knows if I'll achieve this, but I'm hoping it'll be sort of circular, but just to make sure, I'm going to just make sure that I've got plenty of lacquer on here. And I think I'm going to do something like this. Now, it's going to take a little bit jiggery pokery. I maybe don't want that one there. And then I'll spray all these at the end, so I think maybe I'll put this one here. So, say that was my positioning for that. I think I'm going to probably tinker about with it a little bit more off camera. I think I might put, yeah. I want to put something in the middle, and I thought that I would put these two birds here. I might have to cut them and move them in a bit, but these two birds here might work. So let's see what I can do with these. One can definitely. Give it a good scoosh. Let it down then. Normally I just wet a cloth, but I happen to have my scoosher here, so. There, now let's see how that all comes out. I need to let that dry. Now, while this is drying, you don't need to see these parts. I'm going to paint this rim, probably the dark grey green, and I'm going to paint the feet. So I'll get on and do that while this is all drying. So I'm just going to take these off now, just another wee scoosh and then a wee pick, and we should be. I always find when I do these in the stable, over the winter when I was doing them in the house, they came out perfect, but in the stable it can always be a little bit hit and miss. Alright, like what we're going to work with now, it definitely looks vintage and it looks like it's aged, so I don't want to have too many new things on it. So I've got this, so I'm just going to do something like, I need a bit more paint on my brush. I'm just going to do, these are my base for my blue flowers, which is going to link up here, and we'll put some green around them, and we'll put the rest of the colour in. I just need to put these ones in first. So this is the base cut. There's going to be other colours up the top of the ears that would match this. Put a nice big one in there. So you can see what I'm doing, just building it up. I'll dry these with a heat gun and put the rest of the colours in. But I think that's probably, I don't want it looking too contrived. Now, while we've got the blues out, we can add some, oh, this is terribly messy down the side of my paint can. I'm not even going to clean my brush, I'm just going to go into here, and we want some little leaves just to. This is the great thing about IOD things, you can add, take away, add more, add all your own bits of art round about it, and it all just kind of comes together. Now we need to go back in with a little bit more mustard. And I'm just going to don't want mine to look too neat because the rest, the inlays come off quite, you know, rustic looking, vintagey. So quite happy with that. All I'm doing now is I'm just kind of distressing around the edges and taking away some of our plaid, only because from a distance it needs to kind of stand out a little bit more, and kind of at the moment it just kind of settles into it. So I'm just picking out areas and just kind of knocking it back, just distressing it back with the same colour that I started with. Now I've done that. So I've painted a bow in here and I've made it kind of vintagey looking, and over the top of it I am going to, I've just put ink on this. I'm just putting the bow from the stamp set on here. Now my paint was quite chunky because I mixed lots of different colours together to get that sort of vintagey looky. So I'm hoping that it all stamps out and it hasn't shifted, because my hands are a little bit dirty, shall we say. So I think this part here, I think I had to kind of guess with my bow, so that's my bow. Now, next thing, I just want this to dry for a couple of minutes. Next thing, we're going to use the original template, which was obviously just slightly, ever so slightly bigger than this. And I'm going to put this over here and I'm going to try my absolute hardest to do a sort of kind of rustic frame. Okay, I've got my template ready and should have maybe taped this on. Just want a line all the way around this. I'm going to make it nice. Don't panic. I did my little frame and I put my little turquoisey dots in between, just kind of randomly. There's some big, some small. Then what I did was I got the end of my paintbrush and I did some little kind of like, almost like sort of little kind of like kind of accents just to pull this part together like that. That's all I did. I put some white highlights around the bow. And the next thing that's going to happen is, look at this hardware. Aren't these nice? So these are going to be the hardware. They're not going to be too obtrusive for the piece. So I've got my handles on. How super cute are they? But I realised that I haven't sealed on top of the live inlays. So I've got some lacquer here. Now you just have to go kind of gently across them, just making sure that you don't smear them. So nothing too rough. You're going to have to open your drawers again, make sure that so that's all I'm going to do there, and then we'll put some dark wax on. Oops, that kind of smeared that turquoisey. Oh, I don't mind that. Okay, that's that part done. Okay, so I've got a little bit of dark wax on my finger, and I mean, I'm not going crazy here. I'm just trying to kind of like sort out some of the, you know, like where the, just where the lacquer was originally put on for the, I quite like that smear. I think that kind of works. I've given it a little bit of depth, really, going in and out everything, and just kind of like, that's all I'm doing. I think after this we are finished. So I'll just get on and I'll do this and we'll be done. So we're finished. So we used the Pretty and Plaid IOD stamp today to create this, and we used some inlays and just some paint. It wasn't very difficult, and this video has been produced for Julie from Purple Monkey Manor, who is an IOD stockist in Texas, and we've been friends for a while now, and she's really good. If you're looking for a supplier for IOD products, she knows her stuff, so I would head over there and see what she's got on her website.